What if the fate of an entire universe rested on the sword of a prince, and his worst enemy was the key to saving it? Ancient magic, cosmic tech, Skeletor and He-Man. On the same side? You heard that right. This isn't your childhood cartoon anymore. This is war, and Eternia is ground zero. Welcome to He-Man, the Eternity War, where power, betrayal, and prophecy collide in one of the boldest turns the franchise has ever seen.
Hey Operatives, I'm Thorne Bishop, and welcome back to Top Secret Inc., the home of deep dive comic book breakdowns, dark horse theories, and character dossiers you won't find anywhere else. Today, we're cracking open He-Man, the Eternity War, the 2015 series from DC Comics that reboots the franchise with high stakes, heavy lore, and a surprisingly philosophical punch. Whether you're a lifelong Masters of the Universe fan or just love a fantasy sci-fi mashup done right, this one is worth your attention. Let's hit the grid and unpack it. Right out of the gate, Eternity War doesn't waste a panel. The sorceress is dead. Teela has ascended as the new goddess. He-Man's wielding the combined power sword of both Grayskull and Eternia, and Hordak, big bad from the She-Ra universe, is staging a full-blown invasion. The story kicks off at DEFCON 1. As Eternia's resistance bands together under He-Man's command, it becomes clear this isn't just another He-Man versus Skeletor Saturday morning rerun. This is a high fantasy military epic with Teela guiding He-Man like a war general with a god complex. The Horde's techno armies are devastating entire landscapes, and ancient secrets buried under Castle Grayskull are coming to light. Then comes the twist. Skeletor returns, not as a tyrant, but as a reluctant ally. Yeah, you heard that right. Skeletor, stripped of his power, now plays the part of a tactician. The enemy of my enemy is my war consultant. And it works. The tension between him and He-Man adds a layer of psychological warfare to the story that makes you question every move on the board. Meanwhile, She-Ra, known here as Despara, is waging her own war within. Formerly Hordak's fiercest general, she's now battling guilt, identity, and allegiance. Her arc is the emotional heartbeat of the volume. Watching her navigate loyalty to family versus purpose is just flat-out gripping. The volume builds toward a massive confrontation, the Battle of the Temple of the Serpent, where ancient gods, forgotten magic, and futuristic firepower all explode in a visual frenzy. It's brutal, fast-paced, and morally complex. By the time you reach the cliffhanger, you're left asking, what is power, and who really deserves it?
Before we dive deeper into the mission, let's pull the files on the key players: heroes, villains, rogues, and wildcard operatives. This is the subject profiles. He-Man, the reluctant warlord. The iconic champion of Grayskull is no longer just a hero. He's a battle-hardened general leading the final resistance against Hordak's forces. With the dual power swords in hand, he's forced to lead not with muscle, but with strategy, sacrifice, and restraint. Skeletor, the master of calculated chaos. Once Eternia's greatest villain, Skeletor plays the wild card of the war. Stripped of power but never wit, he becomes an unlikely ally with motives buried under layers of manipulation and twisted prophecy. Teela, the goddess ascended. From warrior to deity, Teela has assumed the role of goddess of Eternia. She commands immense magical power, but remains plagued by emotional detachment and divine burden. Her leadership is powerful, but at what cost? Despara, the fallen blade. Raised as Hordak's ultimate weapon, Despara must reckon with her true identity as She-Ra. Her inner conflict makes her one of the most compelling and human characters in the series, torn between the war she was built for and the sister she's yet to know. Hordak, the techno-tyrant. Part sorcerer, part machine, Hordak is the nightmare fuel behind the Eternity War. He wants more than control. He seeks domination of reality itself. His armies are devastating, and his cold logic is matched only by his cruelty.
Character-wise, this volume is stacked. He-Man isn't just a hero anymore. He's a wartime leader carrying the burden of prophecy. His interactions with Skeletor are some of the most nuanced we've ever seen in the franchise. Speaking of Skeletor, the guy steals every scene he's in. He's manipulative, clever, and disturbingly honest about what it takes to win. Then there's Teela, elevated to goddess status. Her transformation into a near-omnipotent figure who still struggles with human emotions gives the story a haunting duality. But the real emotional MVP? Despara. Her internal battle is raw, conflicted, and deeply human. She's caught between destiny and redemption, and it shows. Dan Abnett doesn't hold back. The writing is dense, but rewarding. It juggles world-building, action, character arcs, and flashbacks without missing a beat. The dialogue crackles with tension and introspection, especially during He-Man and Skeletor's verbal chess matches. Pop M. Hun's artwork is sharp and cinematic. There's a surreal blend of techno-fantasy, think space-age armor fused with Conan the Barbarian. That creates a unique visual identity. Each panel feels like a storyboard for a blockbuster movie that never got made.
They told us not to ask questions. They said the files were corrupted, the intel classified, the case closed. But we kept digging. Welcome to Black Box Theories, where the facts don't add up, the coincidences aren't random, and the truth buried under layers of denial. Strap in, agent. You're not supposed to hear this. Theory number 1. Skeletor orchestrated the war from the start. Classification: high speculation. Skeletor's alliance with He-Man might be a long con. By letting Hordak weaken Eternia, Skeletor positions himself as a savior, only to seize power once both sides are crippled. Theory number 2. Teela will become the next true villain. Classification: moderate risk. Ascended godhood comes at a price. Fans believe Teela's detachment and divine arrogance foreshadow a future fall from grace, possibly as the next wielder of ultimate evil. Theory number 3. Despara was meant to replace He-Man. Classification: plausible. Hordak's programming of Despara mirrors He-Man's power structure too closely to be coincidence. Was she engineered as a new champion, one designed to overthrow both Grayskull and Eternia? Theory number 4. Hordak is a proto-new god. Classification: cross-universe. With his fusion of tech, magic, and dimension-warping power, some fans speculate Hordak may be a precursor to the new gods in the wider DC mythos, possibly linked to Apocalypse or New Genesis. Theory number 5. Castle Grayskull is a prison, not a fortress. Classification: mystical level. What if Grayskull wasn't meant to protect power, but to contain it? Several hints suggest its role may have been to seal away something far darker, or someone. Theory number 6. The Power Sword is conscious. Classification: symbolic possible. He-Man's sword reacts not just to will, but to moral balance. Some readers believe the Power Sword may possess a form of judgment, choosing who is worthy beyond physical strength. Theory number 7. Zodak is manipulating the timeline. Classification: observer level. Zodak is notably absent in this volume. That silence? Too suspicious. Fans think he's watching the war unfold, possibly influencing outcomes across time and space.
Eternia in this volume is no longer just a fantasy kingdom, it's a full-on war-torn dimension. The tone is darker, more mature, and filled with mythological undertones. Gods are real. Destiny is written in blood, and every choice feels like it could end civilizations. Eternia in this volume is no longer just a fantasy kingdom, it's a full-on war-torn dimension. The tone is darker, more mature, and filled with mythological undertones. Gods are real, destiny is written in blood, and every choice feels like it could end civilizations. At its core, the Eternity War is about power. Who has it, who wants it, and what they're willing to become to wield it. There's heavy symbolism around legacy, duality, and sacrifice. Teela's divine transformation echoes themes of ascension and detachment. Despara's redemption arc mirrors the pain of breaking free from indoctrination. Even Skeletor, yes, Skeletor represents the cost of obsession. This volume smartly modernizes the Masters of the Universe legacy.
Some intel doesn't belong in the open. When a story gets too twisted, too dangerous, or just too damn weird, we file it under Red. This is the Red Files, classified content, high-risk statistics, and the kind of secrets you don't unsee once exposed. Proceed with caution, Agent. Red File number 1. This volume is part of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe continuity reboot by DC, following the events of the origin of She-Ra and the Blood of Grayskull. Red File number 2, Dan Abnett, the writer, is also known for his work on Guardians of the Galaxy and Warhammer 40k novels, which explains the militarized tone of the story. Red File number 3, the name Despara, was originally used in the She-Ra and the Princesses of Power reboot, before being retconned for DC's darker storyline. Red File number 4, the combined power sword is actually the result of merging the Sword of Eternia with the Sword of Grayskull, signaling the unification of both ancient and present destinies. Red File number 5, Teela's ascension mirrors mythological figures like Athena, goddesses of wisdom and war, often portrayed as emotionless but supremely strategic.
It's not camp. It's not nostalgic fluff. It's epic fantasy with a cyberpunk soul. If you enjoyed Thor, God of Thunder, or the Warhammer 40k lore, you'll feel right at home here. Compared to other reboots like DC's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe or Marvel's Thor, the God Butcher, this stands tall. It's more focused than some of the broader crossover events and less bogged down in multiverse nonsense. Think of it as Game of Thrones meets Star Wars, with power swords and goddesses.
Welcome to Operation Smokescreen, where the lies unravel and the real story begins. These aren't just plot twists, they're strategic deceptions buried beneath the panels. Hidden motives, double crosses, and narrative ambushes, we expose them all. Classified spoilers ahead, Agent. Let's break the illusion. Smokescreen number 1, Skeletor joins the rebellion. The baddest bone-faced warlock in the galaxy does the unthinkable. He joins forces with He-Man. After millennia of war and betrayal, Skeletor returns not as a conqueror, but as an uneasy ally against a common enemy, Hordak and the Horde Empire. The twist flips everything we know about their rivalry. It's not redemption, it's strategy. Skeletor is playing a deeper game, and whether Eternia wins or burns, he intends to come out on top. Smokescreen number 2, He-Man becomes king of Eternia. No longer just the champion of Grayskull, He-Man ascends to the throne as King Adam. The boy who once dodged royal responsibility now wears the crown and wields the sword. But this isn't a fairy tale coronation, it's a brutal wartime promotion. Adam must lead his people while still battling as He-Man, blending diplomacy with decapitations. The moment raises the stakes. Every move he makes now decides the fate of an entire planet. Smokescreen number 3. Evil, Lynn switches sides. Again, evil, Lynn pulls her classic maneuver, betrayal wrapped in mystery. But this time, it comes with deeper consequences. After initially appearing loyal to Hordak, she flips the board by aiding Skeletor and even helps He-Man's forces. but her motivations are rooted not in loyalty, but in self-preservation and prophecy. This isn't a side switch, it's a long con. Her ultimate allegiance remains uncertain, making her the most unpredictable wild card in the war. Smokescreen number 4, the death of Hordak. In a twist that feels like a cosmic mic drop, Hordak is seemingly killed by Skeletor, not through brute force, but by being drained and betrayed. The Dark Lord, who once ruled the universe with an iron will, is reduced to a pawn in Skeletor's new power play. It's poetic, cruel, and shocking. The death of Hordak signals not peace, but the beginning of a worse war, because with Hordak gone, Skeletor is no longer second in command. Smokescreen number 5. The Sword of Power is reforged with the Sword of Protection. In a mythic-level moment, He-Man and She-Ra combine their legendary weapons, the Sword of Power and the Sword of Protection, into a single divine artifact. This act not only unites their destinies, but reshapes the magical laws of Eternia. The twist is symbolic and strategic. It's not just about beating the bad guys. It's about reforging legacy, identity, and balance between light and dark. The power they now share is enough to challenge even the gods.
All right, agents, intel has been gathered, dossiers reviewed, and it's time to declassify the best of the best. Welcome to the awards segment, where we spotlight the operatives, wild cards, and game-changing moments that made this mission unforgettable. Let's hand out some top secret honors. Today, our top operative award goes to Skeletor. From cackling villain to chess master of war, Skeletor plays the long game and wins our attention. Skeletor's reinvention in Eternity War is nothing short of genius. He's no longer a one-note bad guy. He's layered, strategic, and strangely sympathetic. Every scene he enters shifts the narrative tension. Whether he's manipulating Hordak's armies or baiting Teela with prophecy, Skeletor commands the battlefield with words as much as with sorcery. This is Skeletor's most evolved and dangerous form. The Dark Horse Award for this issue goes to Despara, She-Ra. Her sword is deadly, but her self-awareness cuts deeper. Despara delivers the emotional gut punch this war needed. She could have easily been sidelined. Instead, Despara, aka She-Ra, becomes the soul of the story. Her torn loyalties and haunted past create some of the most emotionally resonant moments in the volume. She's caught between the armor she wore for Hordak and the sister she never truly knew. Her journey isn't just about redemption, it's about reclaiming her humanity. The Spyglass Sequence Award goes to the Serpent Temple Massacre scene. 1 battle, 3 gods, 0 survivors. The Temple of the Serpent is where prophecy meets annihilation. This sequence explodes off the page. Hordak's forces storm a sacred temple only to find Teela unleashing divine wrath with apocalyptic fury. He-Man joins the fray, wielding the merged power sword, while Despara defies her past and turns the tide. It's chaos, beauty, and heartbreak, all in one scene. And it redefines what war means in Eternia. Let's break this down to its simplest terms for you. The strengths of this novel are the complex characters, the mature themes, its cinematic action, and a gutsy reimagining of childhood icons. We notice its main weaknesses are that the lore can be dense for newcomers. Also that the pacing occasionally stumbles with exposition overload. Now, who is this book really for? It's for fans of epic fantasies, sci-fi war stories, He-Man lore, and dark mythological reboots. Final score, 8.7 out of 10. This isn't just a good He-Man comic, it's a great fantasy war saga. Bold, mature, and dripping with tension. Us here at Top Secret Inc. give it 2 thumbs up. If this video made you want to pick up a sword and shout, then hit that like button and power up our algorithm. Comment below. Do you trust Skeletor as an ally, or is it all part of his master plan? And don't forget to subscribe to Top Secret Inc. for more classified comic reviews, black box theories, and high-stakes story breakdowns every single week. Till next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and stay top secret.